build that I'm about to share with you guys today is pretty crazy build actually. I mean, this build is ridiculous. When I found it and I put the armor pieces together, I really just I don't know what I was thinking, but I was cooking that day, and when I thought about it and I did all the calculations and I was tested it out in combat, I was like, you know what? This is the build. This really is the build of all builds. Probably my favorite build I've ever made. So without further ado, go over this build. Let's go to the armor section first. All right, so this build right here, guys, is Wraith execution chains attacks consume 40% less focus. Now, this is the arcane sword. Before I even get into this, like, I got Garrison. All right, guys. So, like I was saying, this build is absolutely nuts. It's wild. You're not gonna believe it. I can't wait to share it. But first, going in the sword slot here, we're gonna have the arcane sword. This sword is a legendary sword. Every piece of armor we're going to be using is a legendary armor piece. And, excuse me, we have 10 might gained on critical wolf. Alright, guys. This build is, like I said, this build is crazy. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. Let's start off with the armor. Every armor piece we're gonna be using in this build is a legendary set. The first one in the sword slot, we're gonna be using the arcane sword, legendary mystic. Um, I have it at level 85 because I had gotten it broken once. If you can get it up to a max level of 90 by getting your sword broken, if you're not aware. Um, but yeah, in the secondary slot, which is the slot that you can reroll, we have 10 might gained on critical hit. So this is gonna help us go into our executions and consumes and Elven Light much faster. Um, Here we in the next slot, in the dagger slot, we're going to be using the Blood Dagger Legendary Slaughter. Recovery on this is 15 health when killing an enemy. So anytime we kill, we're going to be getting 15 health. We also have the Legendary Slaughter set on the Cloak, which I'll get into. That's going to be another 15 health. Before I get into that, the secondary slot is critical hit damage is increased by 33%. This is one of the better options. Another good option to use is recover elf shot on stealth kill or even better brutalized. You'll get 3 or 6 for brutalized. That is a good way to recover elf shot if you don't like to run around looking for arrows like me. Um, just in case you're using a variation of this build, you might like to dominate grunts and you're not using elf shot recovery for consume, so that might be an option. I am using elf shot recovery for consume, which I'll go over later when we get into the perks of this build. But slowly drains health, but briefly increases damage by 40% after drain or dominate. That is going to be the set bonus that we're running for the slaughter set. So our health is constantly going to be going down when running this set, but that is a good thing because our damage is going to increase with the Vengeance Vendetta set. And so even though our health is going down, we'll be able to recover it quickly with skills like consume, and even this set itself will be adding to our health recovery per kill. So Blood Dagger, we have in the bow slot, we have the Arcane Bow Legendary Mystic set. This is going to be the second Mystic piece that we're using. Shadow Chain of Shadows consumes 40% less focus. This is going to help us extend our Chain of Shadow kills, which is going to help us recover health easily while being immune to damage and get our combo up so that we can execute and use consume or do anything from there. We are going to be getting 50% less damage from dominated grunts. We aren't running the Dominion perk, but that's fine because you can still resurrect any dead grunts that you've killed, and they will still be receive the bonus effect of this 50% less. Even though they are undead, they still count as a type of dominated grunt, so they will still benefit from that 50% bonus, less damage benefit bonus there. The next piece we have is Armor of Vengeance. This is the legendary Vendetta. Like I said, our health is going to be going down due to the slaughter set, so and we're going to be using executions that consume our health. As you can see, the bonus to this set performs attacks requiring by consuming 40% of your max health instead. So this is going to allow us to basically pop off and deal massive amounts of damage. And it's going to drain our health low, and when our health is below 35, we're going to receive a 15% damage increase. And in the secondary slot, we have a 40% less damage from range attacks. Now, I don't even think I went over the bow, the secondary on the bow, like, forgot about that one, but real quick, this one's going to be 15% focus recovery per range attack hit. This is going to let us just, slow down time longer, be in the air infinitely, add to our infinite focus. Once you get to a certain point, if you're prestiging and you have like 50 or 100 skill points in your focus recovery, you could maybe take this off. Or if you have the Mind Mender bow, which I do not have yet, that's also a good option. But for right now, we're running 15 focus recovery per ranged attack hit. In the late game, I might end up changing this to 1 health shot recovery, 25% chance per ranged hit. But for now, we're keeping it that way. And speaking of range, back to this one, the less range damage is going to be reduced 40% by having this equipped. This is probably the best option there because, like I said, our health is going to be low at a lot of the times during the fight, and the thing that I get hit the most by is probably ranged attacks when I'm fighting. Sometimes you don't see them because your camera angle or the icon's off screen and you missed it. So this is actually going to save us a lot of the time and reduce the damage. You can stack this and get a ranged reduction on the cloak, but it doesn't stack the way you think. I've seen items that have 50% reductions, and you try to double stack them, it goes to 75. So it's not 100% reduction. So a 40 on top of a 40, if I did the math correctly, is a 64% reduction. So I think 40 is plenty for this build. I've tested it, and that drop off, that diminish from stacking, just isn't worth it for me. It's still good, but if you want to run it, but at 80%, I thought it was going to be just ridiculous, like pretty much all damage negated from ranged attacks. You're only going to be doing 20%, but it stacks to 64%, so be aware of that. So we're going to be running instead focus recovery per kill, because like I said, we're max level, but we're still working on the late game, so we still have a slightly lower focus recovery per kill. So our focus isn't infinite when doing the shadow chains. I think I can do about 12 right now, which is fine. I think that's plenty for this build. That's more than absolutely enough to just pop off with this build. But in the late game, this is also another perk that you could swap out for something else. There's a lot of good ones. You could run the 40% on top of the 40% to get 64, like I said. But for the rune, we're going to be running, again, 15% focus recovery for that second perk. and the damage dealt is going to be increased by 50% when below health. So that's the stack of this one. So we're going to be getting a 30% boost when we're below 35%, which is going to be easy to do with this build. You're going to want to be low on health, like I said. Um, and with that being said, we have 15 focus recovery. Again, I didn't go over this one, but real quick, 15 focus recovery. That's going to add to 30, or excuse me, 15 health recovery. So that's going to add to 30. So every time we get a kill, we're going to get 30 health. Plus we have, I think, about 10 health drain from our base prestige at level 10. So that's about 40 health we're going to get. I think it might even be a little higher, I'm not sure. We're getting about 40 health per kill. So like I said, if we can do 12 shadow chains, 12 times 40 is well over 400 or 500 health. So that's going to be like half our health back just from shadow chaining. And then there's other ways of healing. Like I said, we'll be able to consume, and we'll do chain of souls to get all our health back. I used to run 100% increase to health received when dominating, but this build doesn't require it anymore. 15 focus recovery is the one you're going to want to run here. You're going to need at least one other focus recovery perk on top of the bow that we're using. Especially if you're not in the late game build, that's what you're going to be running. For gems, we're going to just run all power gems for attack for all our weapons to do the most damage possible. Right now I'm running XP gems so I can get those levels in the late game, but you can run health gems to just help with your survivability. I mean, like I said, you're going to be having low health a lot of the time, so a 30% increase plus another 30% increase is going to be a 60% health increase, which is absolutely insane. I mean, our max health is 742 with this armor set, so you multiply that by 60% and you're well over 1,000. So like I said, you're going to be wanting to run those health gems, but for right now I'm going for XP. And then for the last gem, you could run anything you really wanted to. The white gem is really good for boosting the captains past level 80. I think it boosts them past level 80 if I'm correct. That's one of the only ways to get them past your level 80. If not, I might be mistaken, but you could run the health gem or the power gem. This is just going to help your grunts survive even more. We already have the 50% damage reduction, so another 30% would be 80. They're going to be practically unkillable. Well, again, it doesn't stack that way, but I'm making too many mistakes. When the percentages in this game just don't make sense, but you guys get the drift. You're just going to have your grunt's going to be tankier. So without a further ado, let's get into the perks. So for combat, we're going to be running Fatal Might. I mean, this is pretty much the one that everybody runs. I don't see why you would run the other two. You just want to get into your combos and your streaks quicker, and just, the point of this build is to not take damage, it's to deal damage, so, you're not going to be losing your combo. For the next one, we're going to be running Fatal Counter just because it's badass. A lot of people might choose Rain of Arrows because technically it'll replenish your Elf Shot, or Might Reversal to gain your Might, but we're just going for badassness right now. We're going to be getting plenty of Might with this build, and we don't even need Might to initiate executions or drains or Elven Light or anything like that, so it's not necessary. And we're going to be having plenty of arrows. We have 15 with the Arcane Bow, so that's fine there. We're going to be running Reprisal for the critical strikes. Most people don't run this, and this is actually very rare to be using this perk. It actually synergizes very well with this build, because our health is going to be low a lot of the times during combat. Not all the time, but a lot of the time, half the time it's going to be low when we're fighting. So this is going to make it so we have insane amount of critical strikes. Our damage is going to be absolutely insane. Like seriously, at times when you're using your sword, it's going to be doing just as much damage as your executions do to captains. You can run Elven Precision, that's also a good one as well, but I believe Reprisal is fine. I hate spamming my X and just playing super precise. I just want to be chill and watch the battlefield and just doing an X attack here or there. So I love this one for this build. We're gonna be using our ground finisher. We're gonna be using ground drain. This is very important. I think this is an underrated skill. This will give us our health back and our arrows, and we can immediately just go into a teleport from there and pop off into an execution. We don't even have to combat drain. This is gonna be super super important. It's not necessary to round execute and have him block for you. You can block for yourself, and honestly, this is just stupid. Build your might by pounding someone, like it leaves you absolutely open. The next one is Brutal Aggression. We're going to be using Wraith Execution. Like I said, we're going to take advantage of the Arcane Sword here. Ceaseless Might is really nasty in general, but with this build, it's a bit overkill because, like I said, we're not going to need Might to initiate executions. We're going to have plenty of executions and plenty of healing to to do executions. I mean, with this build, you can literally do 3 executions, and Ceaseless Might only lets you do 2. So to have 4 executions and then you lose your ability to take advantage of the Arcane Sword, it's like I said, it's overkill. You're gonna be doing plenty of damage between your critical strikes and executions, and we get executions spending health anyways. It's more than enough to kill bosses. Retaliation, we're going to be having adamant because, like I said, our health is going to be low, so sometimes we are going to get downed, and it's just nice to have an extra chance to stay in the fight longer. For our predator skills, we're going to be running Spectral Dash. Nobody runs this. Silent Runner, who cares? You can crouch and use Spectral Dash and go the same speed, if not faster, than when you're silent running, so it makes no sense to be even running this. For Brutalize, we're going to be using the top one, Unyielding Ferocity, so we can get a bonus to our hit streaks. For Poison, Tendril, it doesn't really matter what you use here. I just tend to use Burst Toxins to make grunts into exploding barrels all around the surrounding area, so I have more options when I'm fighting. A Wraith Chain, we're going to be using Monster Hunter so we can stealth kill animals and beasts. It's just more versatile than having Shadow Blade, where your first kill has no focus. Like, ooh, 1 extra kill, who cares? That's such a waste. For Deadly Spectre, we're going to be having Spirit Drain. It's honestly, again, this one's up to you. You could run Brutalize. I just like Drain to have the option to get arrows back and health. And for Death Threat, again, this is up to you. Where I just tend to run Worse Than Death just in case I want to shame uh, a captain that I can't recruit. I tend to always run that. For ranged, we're going to be running Detonate. I tend to run Bursting Arrow just so I can explode fires from a distance. Spider Song and Matrian Scent just creates nonsense and chaos on the battlefield, and just you feel claustrophobic and there's too much going on and it's just annoying. For Freeze Pin, we're going to be able to freeze Ologs. I tend to run that one and not Brutal Cold. Brutal Cold is, in my opinion, an underrated perk, but it doesn't send enough enemies to flee in terror, in my opinion, and honestly, for this build, we're going to have plenty of ways to make enemies flee, so it's not necessary. I want to have an extra option against the Ologs who we can't dominate or drain, so we're going to be able to deep freeze them. Birds of Prey, we're going to be running Talon Strike. I used to run Eagle Sight with this build just to have more time, but now that we have a lot of focus recovery, just shooting a few grunts in between your slowdown while you're airborne is going to be fine to build your meter back up. You're pretty much going to have infinite focus, so Talon Strike just adds another option while you're in the air. So we're going to be running Talon Strike. Mighty Shots, we're going to be running Poison just so we have versatility, because our Elven Light is going to be fire, our Stun is going to be Frost. This is going to be our Venom to just exploit Captain weaknesses. Shadow Strike. We're going to be using obviously Chain of Shadows to take advantage of our bow. Um, this is really good. These other two, I've never even really used them. I used them in the first game, but they're not really that good in this game. Just especially because you have to give up Chain of Shadows, which is badass, and honestly, is just, in my opinion, is way more useful. Each chain kill is gonna heal you and just build your kill streak so easily. Or excuse me, your hit streak. Now that we're getting into the Wraith, we're gonna be picking Swift Barrage. Swift Barrage is good because you can throw your daggers in quick succession. Um, I hate Rain of Blades because I feel like it's slow and it leaves you kind of open longer. Maybe that's just me, but for Elven Light, like I said, we're going to be running fire. You could switch this up with poison, but then you'll have to switch up your mighty shot. Like I said, it's up to you. This is just what I tend to run. There's ice for Ice Storm. We're going to be running Shattering Blow. Shattering Blow is how we're going to be making enemies flee in terror. Like I said, since we're not using the pinning Brutal Cold here, we're going to be using this to make enemies flee in terror. And believe me, with this build, it's not going to take 5 or 6 slices to shatter an enemy. It's going to take, like, most of the time 1 or 2 slices, especially the lower you are on health. It doesn't take me more than ever 3 slices, and that's rare to shatter an enemy. A lot of the time it's 1 or 2 hits that I'm shattering them, so it's awesome because it doesn't leave you open for enemies to counter or hit you from behind. Consume, we're going to be using, when your might is full, you're going to be able to drain. So for this is Chain of Souls. The Arcane Sword, the 40% reduction actually works for Chain of Souls, so you're going to be able to chain more with the Chain of Souls. I've tested this, so that's really good. For Treasure Hunter, this one's absolutely up to you guys. Right now I'm running Prospector to get more gems. This is good for re-rolling to get the perks that the effects that you need for the armor. And then we have Raise Dead. Raise the Dead is going to be how we get our allies so that they get the 50% damage reduction from our set bonus. And we're going to be raising Olog's Death Troll because we cannot because we're not going to be able to dominate them and consume them because we're running Chain of Souls. At least we'll be able to kill them and resurrect them, so we'll be able to at least get them on our army fighting that way, because you can only dominate captains without that perk. So Captain Olog's, that is. So moving on to mounted, we've got Karagor Rider, and we're going to be using Bestial Rage just because this one's just so good. It's basically like our execution, our 40 we can spend 40% health to use an execution because of our armor. It's basically the same thing but for the mount. Here we got Graug Rider, and we're going to be using Enduring Fury. I used to use Devouring Force, and I realized it's just trash. It's better to just build your hit your streak thing quicker. I say thing, your might, and just eat more times. You get the same thing. You get more versatility out of this basically. A lot of these are going to come down to just more versatility. Call Mount, we're going to use the Drake because Drakes are, in my opinion, more rare than these two. So you just get more versatility like that. You can fly around, you traverse better. It's just easy picking off enemies with flames. So for Shadow Mount, we're going to be having Karagor Breakers just so we can mount Karagors quickly without having to waste an arrow on them. And that'll save ammo. For Dragon Rider, we're just going to beef up our dragon, Scales of Iron, so our Drake takes far less damage. Soaring Rage, we don't need to. You could use your health to use the Fireball, but the Fireball is really not that good. The Dragon's Breath does enough damage to kill enemies quickly, and the Fireball is just a little overkill. We don't really need this. I'd rather beef up the Dragon so that he lasts longer. So again, just more versatile in my opinion. That bottom one was less versatile. For story, this one's up to you guys. Some of you guys use the domination um, perk if you want to build an army, but like I said, we're going to be having an undead army, so this doesn't really matter too much. If you do want to run that, just be aware you're going to have a different option, maybe a perk slot on your armor used or your bow or one of your legendary sets to replenish elf shot, or you're gonna have to dedicate something to that. I think this is the best thing to dedicate it to. You get 4 arrows, not too little, not too much. Some elf shot recovery options only give you 1 arrow, so it's kind of trash. I think this is the best one you have. You can use Chain of Souls to chain 2 or 3 consumes, and you'll get 4 arrows for each one, so you can easily get all your arrows back, 12, 16 arrows just from chaining. So this is probably the best one to use. And this one gives you health and wrath, but that doesn't really matter. Again, you can use Chain of Souls to fully heal. You get health for every chain, so it does stack. So this is the best option here is Quiver of Souls. Spectral Glaive, you're going to be using Deadly Striker, so you can just have a bunch of follow-up attacks. That's the one that everybody uses. For Ring Wraith, we're going to be using Cursed Weapons because we have Poison, Ice, and Fire. This is going to be our only way to take advantage of Curse. Is our followers that we resurrect and attack the boss with. And then for Shadow Strider, we're going to be running Eagle's Eerie, just so we can leap off of enemies. I mean, this is just absolutely broken. This is a must run for every build. I mean, this just lets you jump and get away from a lot of bosses. You're absolutely invincible in the air. Nothing can hurt you. And when you're surrounded, this is a good way to get away, shoot arrows, build your streak, and then you can consume and heal up. I've done it so many times. It's just so much versatility in combat using this move. So this is an absolute must. Waters of Lorraine, I've seen people have this or use the mask that gives them unlimited Waters of Lorraine. That build just makes the game boring and it's broken, yeah, but you're gonna be able to use Water of Lorraines anyways. So by crouching and pressing A. I really don't get why they put this in the game, because if you crouch and press A, you can dash forward and use Water of Lorraines for a bit of focus. So I don't know, just because in combat you can do it. It just takes a little bit longer. You're not going to be able to do it as quickly like in this perk, but honestly, it's really not that much slower. You just gotta wait for your guy to crouch, and it takes a split second before it initiates compared to this. But again, waste of a perk. You're gonna be running Eagle's Eerie. That is the best perk. This is just trash. This is from the first game. We don't need that. We can just jump over enemies and press B to freeze them. And then for Call Followers, we're going to be running Iron Guard. Iron Guard summons warriors are tougher. You can also run Bodyguard. Right now, I'm not assigning bodyguards. But yeah, you could run that one. Clusters of Spiders is just trash. Like, again, just creates too much cluster, just like the ghouls. And yeah, we don't run that. Dominate Captain, we're going to be running Destroy Followers. This will heal us for all the head pops. It is another option to make enemies flee. And yeah, it's just dope. It's pretty dope looking, just popping everyone's head at command. Lifeblood, again, is kind of pointless because our health is going to be low, and it's just going to not be able to function well. You're trying to sap our own health to heal followers. We'll just resurrect them. And then we got Enrage Followers, which is, you can enrage friendly captains. You could, I guess, use that with Bodyguard, but I really like the Destroy Followers one. And yeah, that's all the perks we're going to be running for this build. You're going to see how crazy this build goes, guys. In a sec, I'm going to show you some gameplay. But yeah, this build is probably the craziest build I've ever made, and I had to share it with you guys. This build is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, you see, so I'm low on health right here. I'm gonna go ahead and brutalize the sweep. This is gonna give us health for that kill. Just enough to pop an execution here with the chain from the arcane sword. There we go. We got all those kills right there. Our wrath is full. Let's go ahead and go into our wrath. Doesn't matter. Then more execution. More execution. This build is just ridiculous. Another execution. Another execution. And then like this is the risky part. So we were low on health there, we got down, but you know we can. This is why we have adamant. You know, we just made a little mistake there, so we don't come back from it. There we go. 5, 6. You get a lot of things. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, look at all the executions, and we're low on health again. Just dash away like this. Look how much focus we get back. We just get so much focus, and then our meters back to full, our health, like, and our damage just goes up further and further. Like, we can just sneak in from behind here. We teleport away. I'm out of focus there, but we already have dash again, like, from all those chain kills. This build is so overpowered. It's really good. We haven't even boosted our damage by consuming yet. We could already already been dead. Oh, I made a mistake there. This is why. Oh, I must have died earlier. We didn't get a second chance. But
so, what's a dead ranger worth?
I should have had a second chance there, and then I would have finished him for sure. But I made a little mistake. But that's what I'm saying. It's a risky build. It's high risk, high reward. So as you can see, this build has no problem taking care of grunts. I'm telling you, it does pop off on captains. Like that, I could have slaughtered that captain. I didn't have someone to consume next to me. Let's see if I find another boss. Alright, Dark Trickster over here. So if you want to kill a Dark Trickster, just sneak them like that. You're already at half health. Alright, I'm low on health. Oh, he's dazed by stealth. Oh, come on. That's too easy. Stun him. Drain him. See, I told you that perk is good. Double drain. Stabby, stabby. Stabby, stabby. Quick headshot. Stabby, stabby. I told you, this build dominates bosses, especially in a 1v1. There's another one.
Who's that door? Die!
brains must be scrambled, Tark. Every time you face me, you die.
Check that out. Oh, he's dazed.
I can run all day!
Vigilant against stealth.
Yes! This army you're building could conquer Mordor! With a real Uduk in charge, like me! I knew I should have slit the hamstring!
You must think I'm simple, trying that. This isn't going to plan!
Oh man, what this is going on?
Curse you, Ranger.
And again, I died earlier and I got down a little bit, but I'm not running those 2 life gems that give me 60% health, so those things really trust. Especially at 60% health feels like you have double health. So right now I'm running XP, so my build is a little squishier right now. But it's still able to pop off, so I think. Enraged. See, when they're enraged, I love when they're enraged. Look at my health low. The boys. Oh, damn. I thought that was gonna work for some reason. Getting dominated by the Aragorn. Come on here. I wish I had a little more health.
Shut ablaze!
Watch this.
Slaughter him!
Because because I
Explosion time!
enraged. I enraged him with poison. Did I really enrage him with poison? Alright, well anyways, you guys get the gist. Thank you for watching.